Lucky 7. Welcome to episode 7. If you've been joining along with this journey, thanks for sticking with us. It's been a challenge. We've got a lot of work to do still too, and time's crunching, coming up to proposed opening date. And I'm actually kind of thankful that the water is still mostly ice other than the shoreline at the lake out front of the resort there. Just because then there'd be a mad rush to get the docks in place and things like that. But the weather's kind of broke and things are changing a bit here, so I'm going to get a chance to get a lot of these branches that are laying off the ground bucked up into smaller pieces and then rake and get things into piles. Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Early May. If I could guess anything, I'd guess that today we're going to see some significant ice melt. It's a warm morning right off the bat, and there's a layer right behind me there, which you can see about 20 feet. That's about a quarter of an inch thin. Set up a little time lapse just back off the rocks there, because that'll surely melt within the next 2 hours. But I feel like today is going to be a big advancement with ice off. Just feels that way. It's a warm morning and there's some forecast for some wind. I checked a couple rocks out last night. Maybe I'll do that again. And they just went whoop, right through the ice. That's pretty much just floating slush 40-50 feet out there. But beyond that, there's still a pretty good body, I'd imagine, of 4 or 5 inches of ice. Trying to gauge by the colors. It's tricky, but so yeah. Again, here we are, episode 7, still waiting for ice off. Like I said before, I thought I'd be angling in this lake in episode 6, but not the case. Got so much work to do anyways. Kind of thankful that a freshly peeled Stillwater isn't haunting me while I'm raking pine needles, leaves, branches. probably guess what this is. Birch water.
Feeling fancy.
This is a celebratory lakeside dinner that Jen fired up together with some fresh beef, because the lake is starting to ice off. We're like sitting along the shoreline, but the wind has actually pushed some of the ice here. But yeah, it's a celebratory day. I thought this morning, I was like, man, it feels like it's gonna start, and it has. So obviously there'll be a little more drone footage, but my mouth's watering. I need to eat.
Couldn't wait.
I'm gonna have a sip of birch water first. Birch. So good. I'll leave that right there.
Nice.
Fireside.
Spring finally.
Nope. Kind of spring. Well, we definitely wanted to be the first vessel on Sheridan. So there was a pretty significant ice-off section between the island and the resort that's kind of spread out through the whole shoreline on this east end. So we've come out today to finally get on the water. We might cast a few lines. It has finally calmed down. It's been stormy, slushy, nasty all day. El sun's popped out. Had to jump in the boat. I've got about like 6 acres of open water, only on this end, all to myself. So I'm just gonna drop in here in this little bay I've been eyeing up and have her. Super stoked. Hour 1, day 1.
fish of the season. Nailed it's a nice rainbow. Nailed a maroon leech. There we go. Well, that was sweet. First fish of the season. Perhaps first fish of the season on this lake, just because there's this little section open here that's kind of locked out the rest of the lake. The old standby maroon beadhead leech off a loop knot. In about 10 feet of water, kind of in the late evening here. Nice fish, probably about 4 or 5 pounds. A little lethargic, but boom, number one. So I was supposed to be fishing by episode 6. Hey, but lucky sevens. Yeah, lucky sevens. Lucky sevens.
Well, wow. Crazy eights. Lucky 7 was episode 7, but this one I think I'm gonna call Crazy Eights. I first of all want to apologize to our subscribers and people that have joined on and started following the venture, because it's been a good 2 weeks, maybe more by the time this is edited, that we've put a vlog out. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. The week before opening, just after episode 7, we finally had a shot due to weather and just some machinery and timing restrictions to process all the trees that were laying down on at least half of the resort property. That process, we had to fix some water lines and sewer lines. There was a ton of branches and cleanup and stump removal, and yeah, it was an insane amount of work and a mad rush. Literally on opening day, heavy machinery was being taken up to the top road, which was new and being built at the same time. Move out of the way, as our first RV and cabin guests were coming in. Crazy. Guest ready, that's the word in the lodge and resort business, and that was the wildest guest ready phase I've been through in a few decades. But we got her done, and that's what's important. We got her done. The weather has just been totally gnarly. Woo! There was like one little black cloud sitting southwest there. It was blue skies. I was working on the boats, and then bam, just came rocketing in. And I was hoping that some of this driveway would dry out. Now we're just getting mauled with rain. Now the May long weekend, which was the weekend that we just have come out of, it got super hot and super warm, and it was like a little flashing test of summer. But yeah, she's been a wild ride, and a lot of things, as it jumped and flicked on all the switches. Normally you have that last week to kind of prepare and get your flash test everything, but we were so busy in the yard, pounding out long days that a lot of that stuff I was doing on the fly. So I've been in constant repair and maintenance mode and cleanup mode as we were opening, and I just haven't had a chance to get as much footage and compile stuff. And actually after I shoot this tonight, I'm gonna start editing. So thank you for sticking with us. Tell you what, always wear your gloves. My hands have got smashes and dents and dings and scratches and through gloves. So yeah, if you're not wearing them, you gotta do stuff, you're silly. Wear them.
the best firewood stump end cuts. Just ideal. The best stuff. Yeah, we're super lucky to get these base end cuts. They're just ideal. Nice and square, easy for customers to, you know, cut through and chop through, and easy to stack, and got quite a bit here, so yeah, I'm super happy about those. Those are nice. Beast.
That was way heavier than I thought.
Yeah, it's a dump truck tailgate. Don't do too many. Here, you hold here.
What's your foot?
More raking, yeah. More raking. So these will be, you know, $10 a wheelbarrow load, kind of standard camping stuff. You know, get your stack protected from the rain over there. But these blocks, they need to be split so people aren't struggling with them. So game on. picture at the end there. Yeah. Just wailing on him with a balanced leech, 14 feet deep.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not. We'll worry about the indicator after. Yeah, just keep him fairly taut. Watch out for those runs. Be ready for that run. Got lots of power. Yeah, watch your line. Strong, hey? And unpredictable. Good catch. Nice to get out after being in the resort and working all day and running around.
So nice.
Yeah, now that the a lot of the trees, problematic trees that were around the cabins and RV sites have been dropped, it's just for these little cabins, just a little bit of housekeeping on the roof. A lot of needles get lodged in, so we just climb up and use a leaf blower and get these cleaned off. They're open in a week, so just some last minute touches on these cabins before we flash them up. Get those old roofs cleaned up. Yeah. Looks like a rainstorm is coming right behind me. I got a little bit of time here to go. Therefore, I will stop recording. Well, due to, all the stump removal and tree removal and a really late fall, we have a mud issue, and it's not giving up. Constantly getting precipitation and snow, a bit of sun to dry it up, but the common area
the common showers and bathrooms. It's just a uber challenge, mega challenge to keep up with the amount of mud coming in there, and it's just not cool for people having to trek around in mud constantly. So this is a challenge because of the spring for sure. It's been really wet, so I've moved some gravel. More thunder. Moved some gravel in front of the wash houses, and just gonna wheelbarrow and shovel it around and make a bit of an entrance way to try and curb some of that, and also so people aren't sinking up to their ankles. But she's wet. She's wet. We're just constantly trying to curb all this. Try and fix this up before I get hailed on again. Yeah. Soppy. Crazy ride with weather, and we got the docks fired out and all the buildings flashed up, and fixed what water lines were broken, and obviously there's always some plumbing issues, and then right kind of in the middle of it, Gurley, my rescue collie cross, started really getting closer to end of life. Somebody wanted to come out and have a swim. Been not moving much for a few days, and then just wanted to come out and have a dip in the lake. Hey.
Boogers out of your eyes. It's nice. Love the lake.
Literally, I had to carry her outside, and then she just looked down at the lake and started going for it. Get some food in you, hey? Look at that. And it was a mega challenge. The May long, I had people, firing all sorts of questions coming into the resort to see it all day. I was getting really sidetracked with any projects, and in the background I had, one of my fur babies kind of on her last day, and she ended up passing. I came out to see her on Victoria Day, been kind of every hour going back and forth to see her, and she kind of looked up at me and took her last breath, and while I was petting her, and yeah, so we took her out to a neat spot tucked away on Crown on the lake where I'll frequently visit. But that's the kind of crazy 2 weeks it's been, and that's why I'm started out with an apology that, you know, we just haven't been able to tread and plonk out these videos like we have been in the past. But now we're operative. Still got a bunch of things to fix and some landscaping to work on, but you know, I feel like today, which is, we're almost at the end of the month, but I feel like today I'm just starting to see the light and get my groove, having a bit of free time to get a few other things done other than just resort. So yeah, we're back, we're here, and she's open. Well, welcome to episode 9, Nueve. Still been a total wild ride with weather since ice off. You know, we've had quite a few groups come and go already, from cabin and chalet stays to the RV sites that are you know, placed throughout the property here, and there's some groups that are booked in for, you know, almost the whole season. Fishing days have been kind of up and down. It's all been really just about finding a good break in the weather. Even today, that's why I'm hunkered down here at the end of the day in the office. It's got thunder showers and quite a system on its way moving across. So of course that's delaying even further work, finishing some of the, you know, the RV sites that we had to tear up that are in front of the resort. So, you know, coming in, you still just see this kind of raw exposed land that we haven't had completely dry out, where we can put down material and finish those sites temporarily for the season anyways. Had some cool guests kind of pop by and come through. I've had a lot of people dropping by in to just see the resort, which is a little bit tricky because it's just me and Jen in between shifts that Jen has, so not a lot of time to extra socialize, but we do appreciate people coming by. I've only really had a chance to go out and fish in the evenings, and it's been every 3 or 4 days, maybe for an hour or two here. But I thought it might be a good time to give. I hate fishing reports. They're always something that's asked about in a location, is like, hey, can I get a fishing report? Because they're kind of irrelevant. By the time you even present a fishing report to somebody, whatever you had said, things have changed. So they're really, it's kind of by the fly. Fish sizes and, water temps are kind of things that might be a stronger answer that has some, weight to it. But an actual fishing report, by the time that's relayed from me on the phone or on a message to the individual and they get here, things have drastically changed. So I've always kind of been not one to provide accurate or important fishing reports. I will show you some of the flies that have been working for us, not exactly everybody out here, but some of the patterns that have been working up to date. And those could be maybe useful coming in for May next season, but that's kind of the right now. So I'm just going to show you a few of the patterns that we have been using in. Evening after a long day of work building, completing the RV sites. Today it was a really important day to get the gravel in place and design these 3 RV sites that was, a burden for a while. It was over that whole large stretched area where all the trees had come out. So it was really, we really put the gears down today. Sherry and Dan. Sticks and stones. Dan seems to be doing just fine.
travel in designing the sites. So finished up and had an awesome dinner, and then came out hopefully to catch a fish on a balanced leech. That's 14 feet down on a full balanced leech. We got a little rainbow. Yeah, nice way to end a tough day. Minnie loves this size fish. So do we. Awesome. Nice little Sheridan bow.
I've seen the sun rise from mountaintops, slept on the wrong side of tabletops. I've climbed up trees that don't seem to stop, but it's home where my heart belongs. And it's the same as it's always been. Yeah, these roads keep us traveling. They're like rivers and wide and deep, who flow from land out into the sea. Drawn home, always. Drawn home, always.
So much dirt moved from all the trees being removed. I took Sherry, our nice quad, and trailer up to get some dirt and fill this garden that we made. So I went to Horse Lake Garden Center, which is just awesome, and picked out a few plants, but I also started a few plants this spring. So the bigger ones are from the garden center. I've got cucumber and zucchini here, and then all these little guys, hopefully they still work, but I started those about a month ago. Got some onions here, there's some cauliflower and broccoli back here, some kale, nasturtiums, tomatoes, peppers, beans, peas, and these beautiful soon-to-be snapdragons. They'll bloom. So that's our lovely little garden. Welcome.
Pollen. Crazy.
Yeah, these are actually good. Like the perfect time to pick them. You could pick a bunch of these and pickle them if you wanted, or just eat them.
Spruce tips.
Yeah. Ooh, they're a little bit lemony. A little bit bitter. Definitely sprucey.
It's mosquito time. Like all of a sudden, they're like super relentless. I haven't bought repellent yet. I didn't see any in my old gear bags, but if you're caribou bound soon, oh, they're getting me through the top of my hat. If you're caribou bound soon, remember your repellent, because it just started. Like, there's been a ton of rain, and now with a little bit of temperatures in the teens, skeets are out. It's a high water spring. We were just at Decca, and the water's super high there. You can see lots of puddles and stuff around. Skeeter time. Oof, those are big.
You got a sniff of something? Oh, what's this?
This is all wild strawberries.
So these are the soft little spruce tips I collected, and I just pickled some. I'd like to make some tartar sauce for some trout. It's just apple cider vinegar, water, and salt.
See, that's my socket, right? That black thing. It's a black socket. Probably has that already.
No, there's nothing more. Just some
Old wire.
wire. And there's magnetic sand in here too.
Crazy.
Oh, it like jumps. I guess that round part there is the magnet.
No luck finding the lost socket.
There's always other treasures to be found.
Well, I just checked the Windy app. If you angle a lot, or if you're into boating, or just generally outdoor activities, Windy, it's a great app to have. Very accurate with wind forecasts. And tonight we have a forecast coming in that should hit around probably 10 p.m. and all the way through till about 6 a.m. to gust close to 40. So that's northwest gusts, which kind of comes quartering right at the resort. So just to avoid some of the damage, we've pulled some of the bigger boats out. I've pulled my boat out as well. And it's just a lot of pressure on the cleats and you know, your bow rings, or however you're tied into the dock. So, you know, it only takes 10 minutes to pull the boats, the ones that probably are holding the most weight. That puts also stress on the anchors of the dock. So, you know, gathered some of the troops and pulled out some of the boats. And yeah, I'll try and get some footage tonight. But she's gonna hit kind of you know, throughout the middle of the night. So I've also set my alarm clock. Had to go check the docks, but yeah, a little bit of a raunchy one on its way. That's what happens when you're in a resort and you're living lakeside. So yeah, we'll see how this one pans out tonight. Well, she's still ripping about 25k northwest, but yeah, we made it through the night without any dock damage. It's good that we pulled out some of the boats. All the anchors are in place, nothing slid, which is always nice. She's going to be kind of a messy one for the next few days here, and then it's supposed to switch over, so that's a good sign. I did head out in the middle of the night to check some of the connections, but it was just too black and nasty to film. But yeah, all's good. No damage, so that's always a plus. No dock damage either. Good stuff.
Hey everybody, Mr. Big Time here. You know, I don't get out as much on the still waters as I used to, but when I do, I demand a few things. So I'm up here at Piney Point Resort, which is Brent Gill's new endeavor. And I gotta say, I am impressed. Place is top notch. You're right on what I would consider the best fishing grounds. Today I went out, talked to a few fish, caught a few, dodged the anglers wondering why I was the only one catching fish. Now I'm back here having a vodka coke, enjoying a nice fireside rest. But I do have one complaint about the resort. I don't know about you, but I'm not used to getting up between the hours of 9 and 1:30 and not having a golf cart waiting to pick me up to run me down to my boat. So that's something Brent can work on, because it's a good 200-yard walk, and Mr. Big Time don't like to walk. I like to save my energy for the fish. Yeah, it's the boat that smells like fish. One of the other things I really like about this place, because Mr. Big Time does have a family, I allow them to be my family, is that you're only 10 minutes away from supplies. Because inevitably you get up here and somebody in your family is going to want something you didn't bring. Because Mr. Big Time only brings stuff that Mr. Big Time needs. So being 10 minutes from a full gas station, full restaurants, and a hardware store, supposedly, it's a good thing.
Today was the first day, like where we had a break from the weather, and everybody was scrambling
finally to get out, enjoy some nice weather and fishing. And now it's just hammering. El Caribou Hail, June 15th. But that, you know, that's pretty normal. You can expect even snow in these parts in June. But man, she is coming down, which is good because I have grass seed laid, so getting the water that we need. But Minnie's like, dang, a lot of rain. It's fresh. Well, it's finally some good weather for the guests in the resort, so kind of launch day. Everybody that pulled their boats out throughout the storms gonna get a shot to launch here, so go put on some bits and help everybody get their boats floating. Well, Norm's finally getting a chance to launch.
Yep, finally. The wind is gone.
A little breezy, but we got a pretty good day out there today, so.
Looking nice.
We've got the crafty boat loader, which makes life a breeze, right?
Mostly. Yeah.
Now, is there pressure if I film you unloading the boat?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Should be all right.
Should.
It's a production.
The production. We're gonna have to tour Norm and Betty's truck box because this is a thing of beauty. Look at that. Get the rods marked up there through custom rod holders. Got a sub shelf and everything in totes below, and then batteries, electric motors, totes with anchor kits. Got the outboard. You got your axe just in case you get into the hairy spots. That's a well-designed truck box. Yeah.
Man, with too much time on his hands, I think.
Yeah, adventure ready.
Yeah.
And then where's Betty's fly tying box? Oh, there's her fly box over there on the corner.
Are you on the right side?
You want me to get up?
Yes, yeah.
Are you kind of
Get up there.
where?
Up here. Where you were before.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Well, Sam, what's the plan for today?
I think I gotta go up to the moose. On the south side of the moose, where there's probably mayfly and chronomate hatch
Oh, yeah.
there, and go from there before the storm moves in. But yeah, I think that's a good spot for now.
How deep have you been fishing up till the last few days anyways?
Anywhere from about 18 feet to about 9 feet.
Gotcha.
And on the float or the float fishing, I get it down at around 18 feet of water. I drop down to about 12 to 13 feet under the corky.
Yeah.
And on the other line, I get it down about 10 feet. And then on 9 foot water, probably around 6 to 7 feet down.
Beauty.
From that thing. And last 2-3 days, a lot of mayflies starting to hatch.
Yeah, I see that.
So I'll get up there and try the mayfly.
Well, we got a beauty day here. I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Whoa, someone's got a nice fish.
Give him a thumbs up.
What'd you catch that on?
A green woolly bugger.
A green woolly bugger.
Wow, that's awesome. Had to drop a few more trees in the property on behalf of BC Hydro. A couple power poles have to be moved, so we're left with some of this mess. Move these big, green, knotty, heavy logs somewhere else to keep the hood happy. More carnage.
Can't get enough tree falls.
We're moving that pole this way. So it's gonna come through over there. But yeah, let's go dump the carnage.
Let's go.
Log checkers. Trees go up, cut, roll, move to another spot. Log checkers. Our squirrel habitat. Well, we got a pretty unique reservation coming up, kind of a situation with a a boat that's been sitting back up in the forest behind the resort for I believe more than a few years. I think over 2 years anyways, and it's owned by a couple named Norm and Jen, and Norm's in a wheelchair, and the boat has been constructed. I believe it's these are built up in the Northwest Territories, but it's actually a trailer boat, so it's a combination of a boat and a trailer in one, and the tires tuck up, and it's got a front end loading ramp, so pretty neat. Built specifically for wheelchair accessibility, just like cabin 3 that they're staying in. But my concern is the boat's been sitting under a tarp for a few years, I believe since I think 2020, and I just looked, and the leads were still hooked up on the battery, and I got a lot of rotten leaves and pine needles, and the tires are low. So I'm gonna drag it out of the bush, get it down for them
pressure wash it out, charge up the battery, and recommend that, you know, swap out some fuel, get their jerry cans filled with some new gas, and get this boat going for them. So we'll see how that goes. Yank this thing out, and hopefully all's well for those two. So we'll have a boo shortly here. Camp counselor. Well, get her on charge. See how that works out. But the leads were on the boat, so there was a chance I might not hold charge anymore.
This is my boat. It's a floating trailer boat. It confuses everybody because you can drive down the road with wheels down and then pull into a lake and you can fish. The front comes down and then I pull a sheet of plywood to give me a bit more distance to wheel on and off it. Myself, you could drive from a wheelchair if you wanted to, but I prefer a nice comfortable captain's chair. So, and I moved it up a bit just so the boat planes better.
Well, we're kind of looking for a fishing report for episode 10.
Well, episode 10, so we've been doing the Mayfly nymph. It's been very, very difficult fishing. Everybody else is catching them, so we just need to come back so we can learn it.
How long have you been staying here?
We've been here for 3.5 weeks and we go home in another week.
Wow.
So it's been a great visit and good hospitality, and we're coming back next year.
Hey Brian, we're looking for a fishing report.
About the same as my wife's there. I'm not having much luck, but some of the pros there are doing real well.
What does it sound like's the ticket?
I'm beginning to think gang troll is the way to go.
It sounds
but I'll
like
persevere with the flies there.
Yeah, it sounds like some good mayfly fishing when the timing's right.
Yeah, and a few leeches are working as well too, so it's not too bad. Nice. Lots of bites, just not getting them to the boat.
Yeah, fishing, huh?
Fishing, yeah.
So good news on the resort tech services front. We finally received TELUS Optic. Took away the old dish, and the Optic internet system has finally reached from the highway down to resort level. So the dudes from Santronic, which is a cool tech company out of Williams Lake, arrived, and what we've created is a full Wi-Fi mesh system throughout the entire resort, and they've put the proper machinery in strategic places to kind of service Wi-Fi throughout the entire facility, which is cool. We've just added 3 more systems that will kind of boost up some of the weak spots. So now we can offer high-speed pay Wi-Fi service at the resort. You know, it's not a must, but it is 2022 and people still need to stay connected. So yeah, we're kind of stoked to finally have a nice strong internet service provided by the resort. Just checking signals throughout the backs of the chalets. See how far these signals will reach.
This is what the garbage looks like after only 3 days of about half capacity at the resort. 3 days worth of garbage.
That's about normal biz. So at a full resort, that's probably a day and a half.
Yep. Do these garbage runs.
Here, I got Minnie. Minnie, come here. Get your line. Alright, party's over here. On the mayfly nymph.
Oh my god.
Came off?
Yeah.
Broke him off.
Yeah. Shit, I was playing too hard with him. Oh, baby, that just breaks my heart.
It's okay. Well, let's go see. Find We came back at the kind of extreme west end of the lake this evening after dinner. There's a fresh forest fire burn from last summer, so hopefully there's some morels that we can find. We don't really know what we're doing, but Jen tried that one area, but we're gonna give this area a shot. It looks a little different. There's a lot more fallen trees and bit of elevation up here, so hopefully this is the right sauce, but I can see why they're hard to find because the ground just looks like they do. Man, everything here is that same color. It's crazy. You can see why people love doing this. I can also see why mosquitoes everywhere. I can also see why it's super challenging. But it's really kind of
eerie but cool. Walking through fresh old burn. Look at this stuff. Well, a thunderstorm is heading our way. No luck. But first good outing.
Yeah, that was nice. And that couple up there said they saw 6 morels, so there's hope. For the
Definitely
season.
hard to find.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one.
No.
Just kidding.
Good one. These trees sure are gnarly with like the
Yeah.
bark hanging off of them. Okay. Well, we've got mint. And this pretty flower.
And some garbage.
Some
Other
garbage.
people's garbage.
Yeah.
Right, Minnie? Garbage, no good.
No, that's not good.
Ooh, there's the thunder.
Time to get going.
Yo. Steak dinner. Baked potato, sour cream, and broccoli and bacon. Actually trolling some hardware, some flatfish and apexes on the sinking lines. Because, like, how else are you gonna, like, eat a sweet dinner like this with this sweet camp counselor hat and get a chance to hook a nice rainbow? You have to troll hardware once in a while. Hey, who doesn't like a little plug? A little pluggy do. One bite on the flatfish. One bite. Nice evening though for steak dinner on the boat. A little troll. In the groove. In the lodging and resort groove. If you've spent any time as an employee or worked at a fishing lodge, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Once we hit about that 60-day straight mark, you're just in the groove. You're used to waking up in the morning and getting out there and getting her done. And that's where I'm at. I'm thankful that I have a fishing lodge background. Taking on this venture, I knew that this was going to be every day for the entire season, to get a real good handle of things and with the repairs and things that we had to do. So I'm glad that I have that background, but we're definitely what you'd call in the groove. I'm going to be running the resort alone from now pretty much to the end of the season. Jen, who is here, has taken off and gone up to Good Hope Cannery for an exceptional job opportunity there. But I'm pretty sure I can do this. I've got a really good hold on things, and I have great routines, and I know what I got to do. So this is a personal challenge and a test, but I'm pretty confident I can run this resort solo till the end of the season. We have a few long weekends still on their way. Those are always a mega challenge, but pretty confident, feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling strong. For those that have just joined this series, we're at now, as you saw in the intro and the title, episode 11. Didn't think I'd get this far operating. It's a challenge to remember to, in amongst the mayhem sometimes, maybe chuck a camera up, but we have been and doing it. So far so good. A lot of customers that have come through are actually watching this series, which I'm super thankful for. It means a lot. We appreciate it. What I didn't realize, and I'm going to take some time to explain this, is some people didn't know my background in the fishing or the lodge industry, and kind of how my life has funneled this direction. So I'm just going to recap some of that and start right back from the early 90s. My family, my father and mother opened up and started in Langley on the number 10 highway what was called Gill's Tackle. Originally it was called Gill's Fishing Tackle Warehouse, but we quickly stripped off the warehouse word and became what was known as Gill's Tackle. Fly fishing and saltwater and camping and everything. So that was running through the mid 90s, and pretty much from high school, kind of just jumped behind the desk and reignited my passion for angling, which I had greatly as a young child. And then right around the mid-mark of the Gill's Tackle term, I purchased a 20-foot Aluma weld intruder and started guiding the Fraser, the Harrison, the estuaries of the Harrison, the bottom end of the Chilliwack. We would run the Lillooet, the Pit, the Upper Stave. And I really got back into the guiding aspect of things that I was drawn to originally with angling. So I had started spending half the time in the shop, the other half of the time guiding the circuits. And that was, a summer and a fall gig. Some friends of mine were working, and I kind of got the invite and decided I wanted to try it out. And we're working up at what was called Redfern River Lodge. And that was my first lodge experience, first lodge season. At that time, that was operated by West Coast Resorts, and it was on Utsick Lake in the Tweedsmuir Park. And we spent a crazy summer hiking, jumping in float planes every second day, out in the big lake, downrigger fishing for large rainbows, fly fishing estuaries, hiking. Awesome experience, crazy place, great group of friends, but it's eventually sold a few times and I believe privatized, and it just wasn't a winning venture. But it was my first season and my first kind of introduction into that completely living remote. I mean, we portaged our supplies in there, and everything came in squeezed in the back of a beaver float plane, so pretty wild ride. West Coast, at the end of that season, I had knew some of the individuals, upper management, and Mike Coyne specifically said, "Hey man, we need to get you out in the saltwater." And West Coast owned and operated 3 great big saltwater lodges, and the Redfern was just their kind of little freshwater sidekick. And Mike suggested Whale Channel, and my dad took us out in the saltwater all through being a kid. We always had our taste with some saltwater fishing. So I thought, you know what, this will be an exceptional challenge. I'm a fly fishing guy at heart, but it's time to try the salt lodging. I knew that the money and the gratuities were exceptional. I knew that these were challenging seasons. Living and working on the ocean every day can wreak havoc on your hands and your skin, and I was ready, so I jumped on and joined the team at the Whale Bank. And the Whale Bank was a unique floating lodge that operated in Barnard Harbor at Whale Channel, in the Great Bear Forest stretch, the incredible cool part of the Central Coast. And then we would actually pull up that whole lodge out of anchor and tow the fleet down and fish the last month and a half or 2 months at Millbank Sound. 2 completely different Central Coast fisheries, but learned a lot. And I worked my way up. By I think the 3rd or 4th season, I was promoted to the head guide position. And then I got the word that West Coast was grooming me to start taking over lodge management positions and sales. I luckily encountered right around season 8, I believe, an opportunity with one of the guests that had just recently purchased Silver King Lodge, which is a very famous, world-renowned tarpon lodge on the east coast of Costa Rica in the Barra del Colorado River. Basically, on the other side of the river, just a few short minutes to the jungle, you're in Nicaragua, and on this side, the lodge was on Costa Rican land. And I had spent 6 months there working for Larry and kind of helping him set up some of the policies and procedures and kind of get things going like we were doing at West Coast. But what ended up happening there was I was working 5 months up north, 6 or 7 months in Costa at Silver King, straight back up for 5 more months on the coast up here, and it ended up becoming a year and a half of straight fishing lodges, and it was pretty intense. So I hung up the rain pants at that point and took over lodge management at Hippa Island for West Coast Resorts, which was their flagship lodge located on the northwest corner of the Haida Gwaii. Exceptional location, 5-star facility, 35 staff, 50 guests. Crazy busy, wild ride, and had a great time up there. When that season was over, the company had gone through some complications, and I ended up starting to look for another place. And I was hired on at the Douglas Lake Ranch to take over their Stony Lake Lodge and Mini Lake operations, and then oversee the sales and marketing for the Douglas Lake on its own. I was super excited because I grew up knowing of the Douglas Lake Ranch, was a huge Stillwater guy, loved fly fishing, loved the lakes, but always drove past the ranch. So I jumped on the opportunity. I was handed the keys and started managing Stony Lake Lodge. And a few years into that, the Douglas Lake bought the Quilchena, which was another entity down on the 5A. Another cattle company that integrated into the company when they purchased it. But with that came the Quilchena Hotel, Quilchena Golf Course and RV, and some other operations. So I was moved into the recreation manager position for the Douglas Lake Ranch. And that's a big, big property. That meant taking over and overseeing the operations for Stony, Mini, Crater, Aline, Wasley Melon, Sabin, Pikes, Harry's, Salmon Lake Resort, Quilchena on the Lake, Q Point, hotel, retail stores. And that was a decade. I ran the recreation sector for the ranch through the trials and tribulations of the ranch being in court with our recreation properties at Stony and Mini. And quite a time. But right at the 10-year mark, kind of right on the dot, I just started to decide that it was time for change. So I had had an opportunity to meet with the current ownership here at Piney Point. They had just purchased this property. I knew of it, and it had been off the radar for close to 15 years operating privately. So the thought of the rebuild, the remarket, I'm putting the skill set that I've learned at all the other lodges and resorts and applying it to here over a few year program. Sounded great. So March, moved in and have taken over, and there's been a lot of work to do. More specifically, I really was looking forward to living on the shoreline of Sheridan Lake. I had fished here a few times decades ago down at the west end over there, and I was really intrigued about not only completely taking over this operation and applying some knowledge from the past to it, but starting to relearn Sheridan again and fishing this east end. So yeah, here we are. Jen's up at Good Hope till the end of the season. I'm running this solo, but we're at episode 11 now. The challenge is keeping the cameras charged and remembering to bring them out and not impeding on anyone when we're filming. But yeah, it's good to go. Season is happening. One thing to note, this is episode 11, an average TV show with quite a significant amount of crew members will shoot 13 episodes in 1 year at around the same, about the 25-minute mark. So I'm proud to say that we're almost doing what a TV show is doing, but with 1.5 cameramen and just this little computer here, and trying to moonlight edit when I can, when I'm not completely burnt out. So that was a personal goal. Start a vlog. Here we are at 11. Number 11. All right, here's the golden question. This overloaded truckload of empties, how much is it worth? And is it worth more than what my YouTube channel has generated since we started this series? Golden question. Am I doing more in empties, or am I doing more in views up here?
$272.22.
$272.22. Unbelievable.
Okay, I'll just go get the check.
Thank you. I think that's more than the YouTube revenue from the series. Okay, back at camp. YouTube estimated revenue over the last 4 months is $220.12. So there's more money in the empties here than there is in filming these vlogs. But the page is growing. Thanks for that. Well, Payne.
Well, Brent.
How long were you here for?
I got here on June 13th, and what's today, the 7th? Is that right? So departing on July 7th. Would love to stay longer, but if I think I stayed longer, I wouldn't be in a relationship anymore. So
rumor on the lake is you've been coming up here since you were a kid.
Rumor is confirmed. So my grandpa just passed last November, and obviously you kind of go through the old memorabilia, and we found old pictures from the old owners, and I think my first trip up here was August of 1995.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, lifetime ago now.
No doubt. How was the fishing over the last almost month stay?
I'd say it was consistent with the weather.
Yeah.
Usually happy fishermen were happy fish, and I don't know, you've experienced the spring this so far. It's been a gong show, to say the least, or
Yeah,
to put it
wet,
nicely,
man.
right?
Crazy.
Well, it's fitting that as we're talking right now, it's starting to rain again, even though it was looking like a beautiful day this morning.
Yeah, you got a nice one on the trip though, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, so that was it's a little disappointing. I wouldn't say the fishing was the best it's ever been here, but that's Sheridan too. That's the allure. You could have the fish of a lifetime coming on next when you're up here.
Well, when you act like a jackass and you thought you might have enough gas, but you didn't, thank God there's Bane coming to the rescue. I was limping back on an electric motor, but it's gonna take all night.
I don't want to grab those jerry cans.
Mini, stay here. You guys saved the night. That would have taken an hour and a half.
We still have another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sweet.
I dropped a prop out a bay before the pinch. And me and my daughter that was here had to paddle all the way back.
Yeah, you're
and
telling
the
me.
wind was blowing westward. It took about 3.5 effing hours.
Well, the last batteries, my starter batteries, I didn't
Yeah.
want to nuke it. I'm like, they're coming. Drop the pick. Thanks, dude. You saved the night.
Good luck.
Would have been a long troll back.
Well, been there.
And you got an excuse to get back on the water. You're like, oh, we got to go. Yeah.
Oh, we were coming anyway.
It's beauty. Sweet.
Good luck, Brad.
That's the beauty of Instagram. Direct message to Bane. Like, dude, grab a couple jerry cans or I'm going to be putting in. Came to save the day. Stillwater's community rule. A real big part of daily operations is garbage and recycling. It's something that's always kind of a matter that has to be dealt with, and I prefer to deal with it on a daily basis, just for cleanliness and also keeping bears away from these resorts and camps. But a lot of first-time resort operators or resort owners are usually caught off guard with the amount of garbage and recycling that can accumulate even on a small little resort like this. Always something to keep in mind if your dream is to run one of these facilities is how much they will, how much garbage and recycling can be produced. I'll just show you in the back of the truck here what we would get, and we're at the halfway point through a long weekend. Pretty much a full truckload with about 16 to 18 RV sites and a few cabins operating, but yeah, it can add up really quickly. Yeah, something to always remember. It's about a hour return run for us to move garbage, so I like to move it pretty quick. Something also to note or mention, you could do resorts and lodges and even hotels a huge favor. Huge. If you're buying floaties or a new Coleman stove or tents or chair packaging or anything like that, leave that packaging with Canadian Tire or Walmart or whoever. Undo it in the parking lot, give them back that packaging. We're a small little resort, and you know, that extra boxes and styrofoam and plastic wrap and all that can overload us, but hey, they got huge bins. They got service in the city. So if you can remember that or pass that message along, all the small resorts and lodges and B&Bs and motels would thank you kindly. Yeah, give it back to the big guys. Hey, here's your box, here's your package, here's your... So here's an update on that whole area where all the trees were removed, where we brought in material, laid road mulch, planted seed. These are ready to go. Rehabilitated sites designed for longer RVs. You can fit units now with these long stretches over 40 feet. It was a lot of work for sure, and grass is growing. So yeah, ready to go. Disregard all the sunscreen and bug spray. It was an old fish cleaning shack from the early days, which is super cool, but drainage, you know, I believe it was built back in the late 60s, and there's an old rock pile underneath where the drainage went, and it just wasn't draining anymore. So, you know, got pretty gross when things got warm, you know, trying to empty the sink lines into a bucket and dispose of it that way. So we closed it. We're going to dig it out and lay some new drainage rock in there and hopefully get the old fish shack back to its purpose. Cleaning fish and some of the liquid running out into a pit. So. Well, that should do. It's a good 7-8 feet down. Now just to get some drainage rock and mat in there and slaughter away. Some homemade drainage pipe fit in that fish shack. Got her fixed up and buried. Now the water's running great. She's open again. Open. Sometimes dropping the riggers, set up with mono on fly reels, on short, stout spinning rods is just perfect for an evening cruise after a long day of work. It's not bad. It kind of takes me back to the saltwater days. Don't get me wrong. I love stripping big fly patterns up the dark, deep shoals. But I also love sending down wiggly doos off the riggers and just chilling out with Minnie on a nice evening like this. Pretty hard to beat it all. Just some of it. That's that hum. Saltwater boys and girls know that hum.
Oh, yes. This is awesome.
Just smashed. Yeah, that's a nice rainbow. Get this rigger up. Oh, came off. Well, thanks again for watching. It means a lot, especially if you can make it through the whole episode. That means even more. As you can see, the empties and the recycling and plastic that comes out of the resort on a weekly basis trumps, I hate that word, surpasses the YouTube revenue. I'm going to try and change that. But you can help us too by subscribing and sharing on your social media platforms these video links. It means a lot. It keeps me going, keeps the cameras rolling, keeps the creative process happening, and keeps me up at night editing these videos in between a full-time job, working every day. Thanks again for watching. That was number 11. We will see you in number 12. Well, welcome to episode Running a Fishing Resort 12. It's crazy, it's like almost the end of August. I'm not even gonna say sorry for not banging these out, because I think I already said that in like 6 and 9 and maybe 10. But for sure, it's a challenge to allocate time to vlog. I can get some of the footage, but putting it all together and having the time to lay it all out and sit down on the computer is the tough part. There's some crazy dragonfly action happening. Minnie's fixated on something over there. Yeah, it's been a long season. Working every day. Yeah, we have to keep these signs clear. Without question, it's a challenge that I knew coming into this season that I was going to be on every day. I think since May I've had about 16 hours of time actually away from the property, and both of that, the majority of that's been actually just driving. So yeah, that's a challenge. And you're probably saying to yourself, or if you're watching this, like, whatever, dude, look where you live, look what you do. But when you're on and you're on call pretty much 24/7, and anyone comes down the driveway, anyone needs anything, everything needs to get done, you got to be on it. And with lodging background, I'm familiar with that, so I'm comfortable in my brain knowing. And what ends up happening, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth, is you really just start honing in on when the end of the season is. Look, I really don't want to bore you with housekeeping, chalets and cabins and washrooms. That's a daily a daily routine here that I do, and it's just not going to make good footage. It's not something that you want to see scrubbing toilets. So we'll kind of stick to showing the manual labor stuff. What can be the, one of the bigger challenges in this industry, and lodge and resort peeps know what I'm talking about, is it's the social challenge. Normally on a regular job, you've got, your 5 on, 2 off, and you choose what you do with that 2 off, or 10 and 2 or whatever. But the social challenge is a big part of this. There's certain mornings and certain days where, you just kind of, you got to get what you got to get done, and you try and not get too engaged. But I mean, we're talking about fishing. Sometimes it's going to be a complaint of something, or other times it's going to be a comment. But the social challenges, after about 3 months straight, every morning that you're going to be waking up and you're on. So that kind of comes in harder than the physical aspect. When you get used to waking up at the same time every day and getting out and going, that just becomes a thing. Well, it's a heavy checking it out day. The industry term is called flips. Getting everybody's paperwork ready for the incoming, and checking out the outgoing. I much prefer to get paperwork done first thing in the morning before I head out into the yard, because there's nothing worse than having to drop what you're doing and come run back in and log on and start printing off documents and things. If I have this all set up before kind of the madness happens, then things are good, things are easier. So that's kind of my routine. It's always worked well. Once you break away and you have to jump back in the office and jump online, you can kind of get out of the groove of the movement of where trailers are heading and boats are launching and who's who. So it's good to have it all ready and be out there and just hand out what you need when you need it. Get all this stuff done first. Well, you guys are en route back home.
Yep, unfortunately. We have to go back down to the valley again. Back to the chaos. So,
back to the chaos. You're here for a week.
Here for a week and enjoyed it. Loved it up here. And definitely first time up camping up in the Cariboo. And we definitely will be back.
I think you guys went and saw more of the sites around here than I have in the last 7 months.
We did Mahood, Canham Falls on one day, and out the back road out to 100 Mile. And then the next day we went up to Wells Gray, did Helmkin, Dawson, and Spahat Falls, and the Green Mountain Lookout, and that. And then another jaunt down through Green Lake Road out to 70 Mile House and back around. And then the other day a friend of ours has a cabin on the far side of the lake, which is a goat trail to get into his place. He always said, bring your trailer up. And I'm sorry, going on that road? No, I won't. We'll be coming here.
So what was the favorite tourist kind of visit or attraction while you're here?
Well, we also did the
ice caves.
Ice caves,
yeah.
Did that yesterday.
Pretty neat too.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
But
those falls looked spectacular from
definitely
the pictures.
Wells Gray. Like I was saying to you earlier, pictures just don't do it justice. You can watch all the video and picture you want of it, and when you get there, trust me, there will be a tear in your eye and a rumble in your heart. It's amazing. Seeing especially Helmkin Falls. It's just beautiful country, beautiful province that we live in.
I enjoyed the sunsets.
Yeah,
sunsets.
the sunsets. I don't know how many pictures we've taken, but just overloaded the Piney Point site, I think. With
See you again. And you know, sometimes do get a chance to go for a little fish. Usually it's in the evening this time of the year. Once in a while I get to fish with somebody that's staying here as well. Just have to kind of pick my battles with projects and stuff like that. Midsummer, actually more than midsummer, mid-late summer. Yale hummingbirds showing 72 degrees. Me and a longtime buddy Wes, hey guys, are fishing 16 feet from the Indy, balanced leeches on a 17-foot bank behind me here. But we're ideally waiting for the water, or for the sun to go below that tree line there, because then it'll cast a shadow across this shoal and possibly cool it down a hair, but at least it will give some shade and protection for the cruisers that we are patiently awaiting. Patiently. But when I do catch a fish, especially in the, in kind of those late spring, summer months, definitely like to experiment with smoked fish on the Bradley. Love the wet brine technique, and with nice boneless fillets. It's a nice late summer and fall treat. Well, running a resort, you always get fun little gifts. You're on film.
Help yourself.
Wow, look at those. Those are as nice as it gets.
From Summerland.
Summerland's finest. Well, thanks for those, and hopefully you guys have a great trip home. And thanks for visiting.
Thank you. It was a lovely stay. We really enjoyed it.
You do kind of yearn for a day off, but because you have that calendar in your mind when that's coming. But these are things that you got to know coming in to situations like this. If you're going to be pulling the full, is that all these little things kind of start to press on you, but you get good at it, and the longer you've done it, the more you understand that. I am counting the days. We're getting closer to season end. Right now we're at the third week in August, so fishing's super slow. Reservations here actually come down, much like fishing lodges and resorts that are based around the cold water and cold weather seasons. So actually the spring is into early July is peak, and then September's peak again. So August is what you'd call the slower month. But the type of visit changes. That's more of your family and your water sport, recreation, swimming folks that are up in this area, especially here at Sheridan.
Well, thanks again for watching. Your views, subscriptions, comments, likes. I know this sounds so YouTube or vlog generic, but they're super important, and I'm super appreciative of it. What it does is it sets us up into the suggested videos kind of algorithms. So, you know, the more that you guys are commenting or even thumbing up or subscribing, that just puts us into the eyes of people that might not necessarily be following this page. So all that stuff, especially the shares on social media, I'm super appreciative of, and it means a lot. Thank you a ton for that. Sun's just setting out here. I'm gonna, ooh, two big dragons there. There's dragons everywhere right now. Sun's just setting over here. I'm gonna set up the camera over there so you can see what that looks like. But thanks again for watching. This was episode 12. I think we'll pull off, or I'll pull off one more in the fall, maybe two. But thanks again for watching, and have a great fall season up in them lakes. Well, welcome to episode 13 of running a fishing resort. Gonna call this one the season finale, the last episode. The goal originally was to try and get to 13 episodes, and I honestly sat and procrastinated for so long because there was work to do every day, and trying to run these video series and get in and edit and post, but try and keep this resort running was, incredibly tricky. Daylight hours are shrinking down. The calendar is crunching you, and some of the key points to make sure that are happening as you approach season end and closure are things like releasing the pins from the docks, pulling the docks around, pulling those up with a skid steer with forks, and stacking up the docks and getting them out of the water, because that ice comes quickly at the end of the season. And especially here at the east end, we start getting kind of ice clumps before a lot of the other areas on the west end. So the big project, which you want to make sure you get done in time, is blowing out the water lines. So there's 20 RV sites here that are connected through webs of piping that kind of date back from, the late 60s. There's separate newer water lines set up for where the chalets are, and as well as the cabins down at the end. So
Blowing out the water lines is a proactive measure that a lot of resorts in Region 3 and Region 5 take. So all of this was kind of happening all at the same time, but we got it all compiled and got all the footage and we got all the work done. But what I really needed to do was concentrate on some of these other projects in the meantime. Well, lots going on again. Seems to be, there's always some sort of earth moving around here, machinery. Yeah, months ago, Hydro had negotiated, well, that's how we kind of turned it into, as a negotiation about moving one of these power poles so the neighbors could move one of their existing power poles to put in a shop. So yeah, today we've got a crew from I think it's Rockstad, from locally from the Cariboo, and putting in and digging and moving in a new pole and then connecting up. Ironically, there was a power outage just before these guys showed up. Yeah, logging truck smoked the power pole up top, so power's unhooked while they're doing this. So we might get a shot, because the plan was for tomorrow to disconnect. But the power's out right now, so they might get a shot. The first week of October, when we were slated to close October 1st, the first 2 weeks, I think, of October were spectacular. It gave us a shot for myself and Jen. Jen had just come back down from a full season at Good Hope Cannery. We needed to get away from lodges and resorts, so we did some renegade camping and jumped in the truck, slept in the canopy, and visited some real cool parks around the northern Cariboo, shot over to the Bella Coola area. So all these things were kind of planned and happening right at season end. But the key was, let's get this stuff done. What you're also going to see in this video, and I'm going to put it at the end, is a scenario that took place here at the resort. Quite the situation. Was there was a near drowning right in front of the resort. If you know me and you watch this vlog and you know everything I do, I always have cameras affixed, and I did have a GoPro Hero 9 on the boat. And ideally what happened was it was about 5 p.m. and one of the guests had come running up to me on the corner out here and said, "I'm pretty sure I just heard help." We reacted quickly and we jumped in my 1860 and we motored out there. And sure enough, there was a fellow that had tipped his boat and gone in the drink, not having a life jacket or a whistle or any of the equipment. And we caught some of that, what I'm going to call rescue on film. I feel that the impact with people seeing a situation like this really sets in and hits home. So at the end of the video, I'm going to show this. At the end of the day, what this really means is don't ever forget your life jacket. Don't ever forget your safety kit. A whistle, a funny little plastic thing that seems like a kid's toy, can save your life. And this is some of the things that we thought about after, is that if there was a car running down here at the resort, if someone was running a chainsaw in the bush behind me here, if somebody was playing music, there would have been no chance that anyone heard that cry for help. And as you'll see with these video clips at the end of this video, the guy was on his last leg. So, yeah, these are things to remember. right coming up to the end of the season, there was a bunch of things kind of leveraging on the calendar, and you know, at the same time, was kind of working, you know, for almost half a year straight. So the pressure was on. But ideally, you know, what we had lined up right at the end of the season was we had a shoot, a video shoot planned coming in to help market the resort through Fishing BC with Kat on the fly and Nikki G.
I've never fished Sheridan Lake before, so I was really excited. Quite frankly, this is my first trip up to the Cariboo. And so I've been dying to come up here and see some of the waters and just get fishing right away. So I was really excited to know that we were fishing, you know, quite a big lake, but also a reputable lake, and just know that there's a lot of great fish in here. So hoping to meet some of them.
What I noticed was it felt like being in a really vast, wide open space, having no mountains around and just the tree line. And the colors were starting to change a bit with fall. It was really beautiful out.
We had the Sport Fishing on the Fly crew come through, Don Freshy, Dale Freshy. We had Kathy Ruddick and Brian Chan.
Well, how was the trip, guys?
Awesome. Beautiful weather, finicky fish, made our hat fit, but we had a great time.
Made your hat fit. Well, how was the trip in review, Kathy?
Awesome place. Just loved it. Staying here is so convenient and tidy and well looked after. I really enjoyed the fishing. It chilled just a couple of days, but I definitely will be back.
Got some beautiful accommodations though. Those chalets we stayed in and the sunsets, can't beat them.
As soon as I was literally able to, you know, chuck the keys from the resort in a basket and jump in the truck, I had also some planned video shoots. I went and met up with Trevor Tatarchuk, and we went and shot a Quinnell feature, which was planned literally right at the day after closing, which was a great shoot. That was 5 days up in the remote regions around Quinnell, shooting some stillwater fly fishing. What I also had squeezed in right at the end of the season was for Fishing BC was documenting and shooting some of these new campsites. There's 4 of them set up off Highway 24 here, which was super fun, but also, you know, a struggle to run out and get all that crisp content for a production piece like that. So now, fast forwarding to today, it's mid-December, and you know, the daily routines, they've changed. I'm periodically going through and checking all the buildings, the plumbing and the electrical, the roof loads. An important part also is checking our primary water systems here, because the office and our residence is you know, still on the regular lake drawn water system. Now we also, you know, switch into marketing and sales mode. So all the incoming emails, phone calls, from guests that are getting ready and set up to book next season. So the season does change. It's kind of a nice break. The workflow adjusts. Of course, the daylight hours adjusts. It also gives me a little bit of time to do some ice fishing. Which more recently I've kind of become a fan of course, living here in the Cariboo, lakeside on Sheridan. It's pretty exciting. I'm definitely into the sight fishing out of the tent and shallow water thing. But yeah, we're here now. It's winter. This time of the year always just flies by so fast.
Glad I heard him. He only shouted once.
Brent, stay on that side, I'll swing his boat around. He's just hanging on to the edge here for dear life.
Okay. Yeah. First thing, we're gonna fire a couple life jackets at you, okay? Let go of the boat.
How much strength do you have?
Not much, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll grab his boat.
Okay, so we're gonna grab you and we're gonna pull you in slowly. Reach down, grab your belt.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it's halfway.
Yeah.
Got your belt line here.
Yeah.
Okay, just trying to.
Are you able to come over this side?
Okay, I'm gonna let you go here, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just hold where you are. Yeah, straight up. Okay, you up there. Yeah. Okay. Ready. One, two. You're in.
Okay, there you are.
Guys.
Oh God, thank you guys.
We're gonna take you back our way, okay? Get you into some warm stuff here. We'll take this.
Yeah.
Yeah, slowly slide you back my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Push with your legs.
Yeah.
Okay. You're good right there.
Yeah.
Whew. Thanks, man. Thank you. Oh. We're gonna get that boat. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, don't be strip down. Yeah. Just put that life jacket over him there. Oh, okay. Still good? Yeah. Step it off the back. There's the towel.
Got a towel here.
Here's some, these are thermal pants there. Slowly get those on. That over your shoulders. Start to feel some of that warmth come back. Yeah. Good, good. Yeah. Just gonna get this truck set up for you. Don't worry about your clothes or any of that. I'm just gonna get you in there, and then I'll throw the clothes in the truck and we'll get you where you're going. What's that? Yeah, it's just slow as the key, eh? Yep. Blood's just coming back.
Okay. I got your phone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take a step up here whenever you're ready. Thank you guys. Yeah. Hey, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm glad you're still here. That was getting close. Holy. That was close. That dude, by the way, his name's was almost gone. I think it was all on video captured there. It was just his lips and his nose sticking out, and his feet were under the boat. The lake's 59 degrees. He doesn't remember how long he was in the water or actually how he fell in. So, but he was full out hyperventilating by the time we got there. Heavy. It's a heavy human being when they can't help themselves up into a boat. Like, yeah. 13. Well, thanks again for all of your likes, comments, subscriptions, shares. It all means a lot. This is like year 12 in the video game, and it feels good to end this with episode 13. But again, super appreciative, and thanks for coming along on the interesting ride in my first real kind of go at vlogging. But we got lots to come. Wait for It Films has some pretty cool features on the way. Keep your eye out for Still Hard. It's a little ice fishing adventure with the Still Boys. That's coming up soon. But yeah, thanks again, and everybody have a safe and sound, happy holidays. We wish you the merriest of Christmases and a happy new